Hi there, my name is Will, and that is me on my Performer JC70. So this video is really just me giving my first impressions of what it's like to ride this thing, the JC70 in particular, and sort of generally the whole tadpole trike thing. Something that I've come to with no background whatsoever in recumbents or trikes. I'm barely even really a cyclist, if I'm honest. I've had a couple of bikes as an adult. Recently, about 18 months ago, bought a bike just to commute to work, and one day on my commute on the cycle track I got passed by an interesting looking machine, which turned out to be, after I did a bit of reading afterwards, a Delta trike. So that's two wheels at the back rather than this, which is the tadpole configuration, two at the front, which seem to, as far as I can tell, to be the more popular variety. I say more popular, that even so, they're still pretty rare. You don't see many of them. I've still never seen another tadpole trike in the flesh, other than the one that I bought, which I bought having never ridden one before, never ridden any sort of recumbent, but just took a punt because, as I say, it looked like fun. And so the Performer JC70 is one of the more affordable ones. I think I paid about 1,000 to 1,100 quid with import duty via eBay. So this is built in Taiwan. A little bit of self-assembly. The crossbar is bolted on rather than welded, which I guess makes it pack up a lot smaller for the shipping. So they're saving quite a bit of money there. But anyway, a couple of hours work to get it all put together. Had to be careful with a couple of parts of that, like getting the alignment of the frame correct, because it's all done by eye really. You can twist it left and right, but the back wheel can be slanted in one or the other direction, so you've got to get that right. And the tracking, which I'll get onto later, is something seems to be a bit of a dark art as far as I can see at the moment. But yeah, so I thought I'd take a punt on one of these things and see what it was like for the daily commute. So I did my first ever commute on it. Really completely unsure of how long this was going to take. My normal riding time to work is about an hour and 20 something minutes, sort of about maybe 1 hour and 20 if I'm putting a bit of effort in, an hour and a half if I'm plodding along. And on the trike, first time I'd ever ridden the trike, I did it in an hour and a half, same time as by bike really, which was really surprising. I thought that you had to work on your recumbent leg muscles, and I thought that would take some time, so I was sort of kind of ready for it to be an hour and 45, hour and 50 minutes, something like that, and I wouldn't have been too upset, but really impressed first time out on it, equaling my normal sort of bike time. And in fact, the fastest time I've ever done my ride to work is an hour and 9 minutes on the bike, and on, I think it was the 7th or 8th ride on the trike, I did it in an hour and 7 minutes. So unquestionably, I find this thing faster than a bicycle. Admittedly, a lot of that ride is on fairly flat roads, flat cycle tracks, and obviously going up hills, it is significantly slower, which I don't quite understand the logic of. I'm sure someone who understands the physics could explain it, but if I can go quicker along the flat, I can get more power to the back wheel on the flat. Well, I'm not quite sure why I can't do it going uphill. I know this is a well-known fact that recumbents are slow on hills, but not fully sure I understand the logic behind that. So yeah, before I bought it, I was trying to find out throughout the whole of the internet, trawling every site I could for information on this particular model, and there isn't much out there. There's the most extensive video on YouTube. There's a rather impressive Saudi Arabian, I think he is, gentleman, who's got quite a good video for showing the thing off. Other than that, not a lot of information. A few of the forums, there's the odd owner popping up saying a little bit about them, which was all useful stuff. But as I say, it was not really enough to form a particularly detailed image of what they were like. So there was that element of just jumping in and taking a risk on it. But fundamentally, overall, I'm really glad I did. Riding a trike is great fun, which is what I'd hoped it would be. As someone who suffers with a bit of a bad back, it's much more comfortable than a bicycle. However, The one caveat there is what I do find with this one, it's got a hard shell seat, and I do find that it always feels like I'm perched right on the edge and sort of slipping off the front of it almost. I'm not actually slipping off it, but it feels like I am. I've done a sort of temporary fix on that by just getting a bit of plastic and sitting it on, velcroing it to the seat, so to extend the front of the seat by it's about 5 centimeters. But I wanted to work on something a bit more permanent than that. So I've got a couple of ideas for what to do. That's the sort of biggest down point of the whole thing, especially when the whole deal of a recumbent is that they're meant to be more comfortable. Having this slightly awkward feeling isn't great. But anyway, I'm pretty sure there's an easy fix for that, and I'll post anything further if I can sort that out. As far as the build quality of this goes, I can't really compare it to any other trikes, but I would say it's probably pretty similar to what I would expect to find on a fairly cheapish bike. You know, if I sort of 300 quid bike in Halfords, I would imagine this is a similar sort of build quality. Some of the paint has come off a little bit easier than I would have wanted it to. The one I bought was the steel framed one rather than the aluminium one. The idea being that would soak up some of the bumps a bit more. I think steel's a bit more springy. But the advantage of aluminium, of course, is it's a bit lighter, which would have been pretty useful for me because I live in a first floor flat here in the UK, and with no outside storage, I've got to haul this thing up the staircase, which is a staircase. In fact, is narrower than the tracking width on the trike, so I have to take the rear wheel off and tip it through 90 degrees and carry it up the stairs. So definitely aluminium would have been better from that point of view. I had wondered what the best way to rig up a speedo computer would be. The trouble with the obvious options were a wired one. The wire probably wouldn't be long enough to run it from the back wheel. There's no sort of obvious place to mount it for the front wheels, and wireless ones, I'm not sure if the sensor from the back wheel would reach where you'd have to position the computer on the front. I think they've got very short, sort of sub 1 meter ranges. So anyway, I realised actually the obvious answer is to get one of the little GPS ones, so it picks up everything from the satellite feed. It's a bit more expensive, but I've got the cheapest Garmin. I think it was about 70-80 quid, but it does the job really well. Plus all the advantages of the GPS element of it. You probably can't see on the video there, but I've got clip-in shoes. I've read sort of horror stories about if your feet come off the pedals, they can get dragged under the crossbar and snap your legs. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it seemed like a better bet to be safe, and it feels pretty comfortable cycling like that. Another thing I wasn't sure about before I got it was what the turning circle would be like, and on my commute there's a few tight turns in between bollards, but actually the turning circle is absolutely fine. It gets through most of the obstacles, and also another slight worry was would this thing make it in between some of those bollards where it can be a bit narrow. But as I say, it's about, I think it's 80 centimeters the overall width, and I haven't come across anything that's narrower than that. So pretty much anywhere I can go on a bike, I can go on this thing. Apart from the problem I mentioned with the seat feeling a bit too short, the other real sort of downer I've had with it is that when I let go of the handlebars at any kind of speed, really, the front wheels start to really wobble. Tried various things. I've tried adjusting the tracking a hell of a lot of times. A little bit, a twist here and a turn there, and changing them from running parallel to a tiny bit of toe in, but I can't get rid of it. I think putting the pressure in the tyres up much higher perhaps helped a little bit, but I might have been kidding myself. So if anyone's got any tips on that, I'd love to hear it. Anyway, overall, brilliant machine, well worth the money. As I say, a few tweaks to come, and I think it'll be even better. But yeah, loving it, and I'll put some better videos up to actually show the thing in action at some point soon. Anyway, I hope that's been in some way useful, because the information like this, or probably a little bit better than this, is what I was looking for when I was thinking of buying one. But anyway, yeah, if you've been in the situation I was in a couple of months ago and you're sort of toying with the idea of one of these eBay performer trikes, my advice is definitely well worth it, and go for it. Yeah, let us know how you get on. Cheers for now.